Hi, I'm Luke Searveld. Welcome to another episode of Meet the Gaffer. Someone asked that we show the building of a Menace Arm rig. Here we're building two. We're using modern studio equipment fittings. So on the front end, we've got the junior receiver, and that's for the S60. And then on the back end is the baby pin, and then in the middle is like the ear and the sort of center stanchion. We're just using one ratchet strap. You could use two, one from the front to the center, and then from the back to the center. But it's rated for 300 pounds, so we figured we were good. I've got short head cables, so that's why I'm putting the ballast onto the pipe. Normally, you'd probably try to keep that off just to have less weight up there. And you'll notice that we're also tying off the back end, because if that were to go, because something loosened up, then you'd have the whole seesaw effect. The front end would go down. So we're tying off not only the top end, by the lollipop to the pipe down to the stand, but then also once we've got it up in the air, then we're tying off that section, the top section, down to the bottom of the stand. These are Menace Arms with two stands in the back, so they're easier to shift before we send them up. And let's go up. So so you hold on to that. Actually, I'll hold on to that. And then if you loosen the top one of there.
This one?
Yeah, just this one.
Are you loosening this?
This is the one that loosens.
Yep.
Just a minute, don't do it now.
Oh. We've got a hold on, it's going to pop.
Yeah.
Ready? Oh, right.
Yep. Okay, go ahead and loosen. All right, and now you're going up. Go all the way. Six. Okay, and now you're going to pull down on that guy.
Ready?
Yeah. Okay.
Cool. So, I'm a little tight on the headroom because they're on stools.
Oh, they're going to be taller. I got you. Well, let's poke into it then.
Ready?
Yeah.
Landing.
Okay.
Oh.
So then we should really tie this.
There's coffee on that side and some crap on the other side and other crap right there.
I think you said you were uploading your in the cards together.
As far as I know,
You never have enough space.
most likely you.
I mean, remember you guys applied
They'll probably just
to
do
the
it.
village.
Probably
And
park
all
lot.
that room.
Some.
Yes, some are.
It'll just have right on the server.
6 regulars, 2 shorties, and 1 roller. I have a T-bar. Perfect. Like it's like clips. Are they up here now?
Yeah. I've noticed.
In a perfect world, the Menace Arm would be parallel to the ground. Here, because of the soffit, we had to go on an angle, and that puts the unit on an angle too because it was on a yoke. So a swivel back would have been a better call. I'll do that next time. Today we've got a little interview set up here with some beautiful windows. And I've got Jeff Regan and Conrad Slater with me. Jeff was in charge of camera, the DP, and Conrad was doing sound as well as keeping all the images switched on the monitors.
So besides being a regular sound man, I'm also a video engineer, shader, and tech. And a lot of times on Jeff shoots, we do multicam setups, which require monitoring and routing of the different cameras for different things. So besides doing the audio package down here, which is kind of my main focus of my job, we do have a router kit up here. So each camera, if you watch the big monitor there, is up as a single, which most people are used to seeing. Most monitors only have 2 inputs, so when you want to see 3 cameras, you run into trouble. So we asked for a quad split. So we have a quad split generator. And then actually have a second quad split generator in the system, which is slightly different. It includes audio meters, so that different people can have different things in their quad split views, whether it's a client, people on set, or myself looking at the technical aspects of the show.
Jeff, you've done this setup quite a few times, right?
I have. I do it sometimes in my sleep.
And for quite a while, you've been doing it with the 2 S60s, right?
That's right, because the S60s give us the punch that we need, but are still soft, and the rectangular shape makes it so they're not as intrusive on a low ceiling with soffits like we have in this room. So
That is pretty low.
Yeah, so the S60's been the perfect device. I remember one time when the S60s hadn't been out very long, a gaffer said to me, "Why would you do that when we have jokers and chimeras?"
Yeah.
And I said, he says, "These are so heavy." And then once he saw the output, he was convinced that it was a good way to go.
And you've had much brighter days, right?
Yeah, normally we have blue skies. We have overcast today, so that's allowing us to use the snap grids or whatever kind of soft boxes these
Yeah,
are.
the snap boxes, and then we left the grids off, but yeah. So that works pretty well. Sound-wise, were you booming this and laving it?
No, we had just lavs on it this time. This room's a little live. There's an AV cabinet behind us that makes a lot of noise, and some other fans and things that happen in this room. So we tend to do lav more than often. Plus, I wasn't sure exactly what the setup was going to be. Sometimes we do this where it's a very sparse set, and you can see all around the chair, so you can't run cables.
Oh, right.
So I just went for body mics this time.
Yeah, cool. And then how many cameras are we working with here?
3 cameras today.
And how many operators?
Well, the eMotimo is a robotic operator who doesn't eat very much, but two humans, and then 1.5 humans.
So who's the guy operating right now?
Right now is one of the humans.
Who's that?
His name is Matthew Emmanuel.
Hi. I'm the non-robotic one that eats a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. So so the cool thing is at least the third camera in this case we had a host plus 2. The Robo can always hold that 2 shot on the slider, allowing the singles to be able to reset between the 2 talent, and so it's nice to have the coverage of the slider without having to actually hire an additional operator. And I know that sometimes people would prefer humans, but sometimes robots can do a good job.
and so what are the lenses that you're using today?
On the 2 singles, the crosses, it's a 85 and a 135 Canon CNE Prime with PL mount instead of EF mount. And then so the slider is a 35 millimeter, and the 2 crosses are all like at a T 2.2 because the 135, that's wide open for the 135. So they're all matching at T2.2.
And camera-wise, you're on...
These are C300s, Canons.
Anything else you'd want to add to this world?
I don't know. Always bring extra stuff. As we found out today, we had a distribution amplifier decided to go to sleep, and we had a last-minute refrequency of the wirelesses just before show. So
Because there's so much crap going on.
there's so much junk going around.
Yeah,
here,
these
so-
buildings. Yeah, and then we scratched with some Select 41s, and then we have the 2 Select 31s with snap boxes, snap grids as kind of a fill. So that kind of rounded out our setup here. Now it's time for lunch. So thanks for watching. We'll see you again next time. So one question I had was, mostly when you've done this, has it been one-on-one, just interviewer, interviewee?
Yeah, most often it's just a host and 1. Today it's a host and 2, so it's a little different, and it required more of a compromised focus on the slider camera.
Yeah.
But the nice thing about the eMotimo robotic head is that it also comes with a fizz unit, so it's a 4-axis unit. So therefore, it can rack focus from one end to the other. And so yeah, this is the first time we did a host and 2, and it seemed to work out well because when this talent would look at this talent, it was kind of a nice dynamic with the camera sliding by. So I kind of liked the feel of that. It kind of made it more conversational when you have the 2 talents, 2 interviewees, and one is looking at the other, and the slider is just kind of eavesdropping.
Yeah,
On the
so you were
conversation.
doing one focus for these 2 guys and then one focus for the other.
Yeah, well, the slider wasn't shooting the host, so...
But you weren't changing when you were seeing these 2 guys.
No, that would have required an operator.
Yeah.
So I just had to trim it from one end to the other and hope for the best. But it was more of a compromise focus, and because it's a wider lens, you can get away with a little more that way. But I just like the dynamic of,
Yeah.
of the look, you know, the talent looking at each other.
Yeah, it's a little more interesting. And so you could, with the eMotimo, you could actually do it live?
You can operate it live, yeah.
Yeah.
With the it's just a Sony PlayStation 4 controller, and it's got focus controls, including focus stops. So it's not quite as nice as a full-on
Yeah.
wireless follow focus, but it is doable if somebody's good with a PlayStation controller
Yeah, yeah.
of a certain generation, youngster, or me.
Yeah, we're just a bunch of old guys
Exactly.
making this happen.
Proficiency.
Yeah, but it was kind of nice to get the team back together
Yeah,
because, you know, we don't
the band.
work as often together as we have.
Well, it's nice to be on location.